Wow, this book is an absolute must read. This book, Life Force, with Mr. Tony Robbins, Ms. Dr. Peter Diamandis, and Dr. Robert Hariri. This is an absolutely must read for anybody in either fitness or looking to live a healthier lifestyle, have more power, have more energy, have a better drive to go do things. Or not just that, but there's also an element of preventing potentially preventable diseases. So, with that said, I want to put this disclaimer out there to always speak with a certified professional, a doctor, a physician. Talk to your physician. You got a second opinion, you got a third opinion, fourth opinion, fifth opinion, maybe. However many opinions you need to get the results that you want. But talk to a doctor. Don't just listen to me because I'm talking about these things. I'm going to share some of the things that I've learned from this book that are absolutely phenomenal. And what's amazing about this book is it's written in a way that is easy to understand and exciting to read. Because a lot of these books that talk about medicine, that talk about health, fitness, nutrition, scientific breakthroughs, supplements, they can be very boring because the people that write them, no offense to any doctors out there, but the people that write them are doctors, scientists, researchers, and they write in a very boring and unexciting way most of the time. Now, I'm not saying all books are like that, but for the purpose of this, what I want to share is that this book does a great job of keeping you entertained, keeping you interested in these amazing breakthroughs. So if you've ever read like a diet book before, if you've ever read like a fitness and a health book, or even a motivational book, sometimes those books can be pretty boring if the writer is not good. Or if you're not getting these interesting ideas, or if it starts to be too difficult to understand exactly what's going on with the supplement or the diet or the nutrition or the company or the fitness program that you're reading about. So with this book specifically, I mean, Tony Robbins, #1 New York Times bestseller already. It just came out like a month ago, I think. And here, increase your energy, strength, vitality, health span, and power. Now, I've read this so far, and I'm no expert on health and nutrition, but after reading this, I've learned so much in just the first few chapters. This book doesn't just talk about, nutrients and eat your vegetables and, avoid sugar and, those basics like drink more water. It doesn't just talk about that, at least not in the first few chapters. Maybe it talks about it in the end and, about how important it is to do those things, which I think any nutritional book should, talk about those topics of eating healthy and all of that. Because at the end of the day, we are what we eat. We are what we consume. That is true because if our bodies, I think I heard somewhere something like our bodies regenerate and are completely new bodies because our cells like fall off and go away or whatever. Our cells completely regenerate and we have a new body like every year or so. Like every maybe year to 5 years, something like that. But basically we have a new body every once in a while, technically, because all the cells are completely different than the cells that were before. So how does that happen? That comes from the food we eat, the supplements we take, the nutrition we have, and all of that. And of course, a lot of it's a mind thing too. What we put into our minds molds what we become as well. But with that said, I mean, this book is absolutely phenomenal. It's got not just nutrition ideas, like, it talks about how you how your body ages. And it gives you a deep understanding about that, but also not just like how your body ages, but some theories and some new breakthrough biotechnologies and research that can help either slow and slow or reverse aging, essentially. Yes, I know that sounds ridiculous. I know that sounds absurd, but give the book a shot. Give the book some potential. I mean, when Copernicus or Galileo, I don't remember which one, started talking about, the earth was round and the earth revolved around the sun. It's not everything revolving around the earth. He was shunned and they wanted to burn him at the stake for heresy or whatever. So with that said, I mean, have an open mind. These are some amazing things happening in here. We're talking about life-changing, life-saving. How much is potential life-saving or preventing a disease worth to you? How much is that worth to you? It can be a lot. Now, it doesn't just talk about healthy nutrition. I mean, it goes a bit into like genes and like how your genes recreate, and ultimately how you can slow down the deterioration of your body by managing how your genes repair and reproduce and all of that. So it goes into that science. But it also talks about the supplements that you can potentially take that can help you slow all of that down. On top of that, it also talks about some new breakthrough biotechnologies that relate to Alzheimer's disease, that relate to other deteriorating factors like organ failure and things like that. These are some huge topics that aren't talked about in schools usually, that aren't really talked about even in college. I went to college for biology, and I studied that. I'm not saying that because to make myself sound like an expert on this topic or anything, but I went there. But we did not talk about these breakthrough technologies that are in here. I mean, we got a basic understanding of like how cells function and all that, but we did not really learn about all of the most upcoming breakthrough ideas. So this stuff is so new to me, so interesting, and this is just some amazing stuff that's coming out. I mean, replacement organs. Think about how much value that could be if you ever, or a family member ever, or even a friend ever needed to replace an organ, and instead of getting placed on a wait list, you could show them this book and show them who they could potentially reach out to consider finding an off-the-shelf organ. Now, I know that sounds like science fiction, but if it sounds that far off, then you probably are the type of person that needs and will want to read this book, because there's so much technology. If we think about all the technology, the military, the American military and the government had GPS like 10, 20, or 30 years before it ever became open to the public for us to use on like the original MapQuest, before we ever had the original Garmin that we could look up our GPS programs on. The military had that. The government had all that technology. A lot of science and research is not available to the public, but maybe it's not available to the public not because it's hidden away somewhere, but sometimes they just either have not been fully approved or people don't know about them. Well, this is your chance to catch up on some amazing, amazing, amazing things that are happening in technology. I mean, we're talking tons and tons of some of the most major diseases out there that are hurting humans or preventing us from living the fullest lives possible. And let's just say you're not even worried about potential disease or potential things that could cause you to not live your fullest life. There's a ton of stuff inside this book that talks about what it takes, the vitamins, the nutrients, the minerals, the things that your body does to upkeep your body. Technology that they didn't have many, many years ago, research, nutritional ideas, supplements that were not available 30, 50, hundreds of years ago, that are going to help us not just live longer, but live a life that is going to be lived at a peak performance level. Meaning we're not going to be, there's opportunities for us now if we start to take care of our bodies, depending on your age, whether you're 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90. I mean, right now is always the better time to start, or actually 10 years ago was the best time to start, right? But right now is the second best. So with that said, looking into these types of ideas that can help you perform at your peak 5, 10, 15, 20 years from now is going to help you not just maintain your career, it's going to maintain your vitality, your relationships, your energy to exercise, stay fit in all of these areas of life. The way that your body, the way that you're taking care of your body now, what you do with your body, what you take into your body is going to ultimately be how your body is going to affect how your body performs 5, 10, 15, 20 years from now. I mean, the book does an absolutely amazing job of explaining these incredible new technologies, supplements that you may have heard of and supplements that you may not have heard of. In fact, I was talking about to some friends of mine who had mentioned a diabetes treatment called metformin, which was, they felt it was like the super revolutionary secret technology, but it was mentioned in this book. So that's just an example of the idea of the idea of, if even if you've heard of some supplements before, this might just help you to greater establish your certainty in that item or your knowledge in that area, because this does expand on metformin in a later chapter. Supposedly, I haven't read that far, but just these first few chapters have been absolutely amazing. And it talks about, this idea of how can you reverse aging. It doesn't really have so much to do with reversing time or reversing aging. It has to do with the supplements that you take and how your body takes care of nutrition and energy and how it repairs itself, because as it constantly has to repair itself, your body starts to break down. Well, how can you slow that down so that your body can maintain the biological age of 20, 30, 40, 50 when you're 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, right? So there's so many great ideas in this book that make it worth reading. If you're looking to maintain a peak performance throughout your life, if you're looking for health, vitality, if you're maybe you're not looking for all those things, or you feel a little bit overweight, but you're looking for some motivation, because sometimes the things that are holding you back, yes, a lot of it is a mental game, and sometimes it's just getting the motivation, but at some level, your body, your physical body, can only perform at such a level depending on the nutrition that it takes in. If you're not getting the right vitamins, if you're not getting the right nutrients, if you're not getting all of those things, the cells in your body are not going to function at max effectivity or effectiveness. And you probably already know this, so this might just be a reminder. But these are some of the amazing things that this book goes into the detail and helps you understand in detail precisely what you can do in order to maximize the potential that you have. Because if you can get your body functioning at peak levels throughout your life, then you're gonna have the energy to go and pursue things, to do things, to have great relationships, energized relationships, to have that great career and pursue it, to come home after work and to go ahead and work on your fitness, to wake up early in the mornings and get your fitness on. I mean, this isn't necessarily new information that fitness and nutrition is important, but knowing precisely what is important and knowing precisely how it works, and not just knowing how it works, but knowing that the ideas that you're getting are coming from reputable people like doctors, medical doctors, researchers, scientists that have dedicated their entire lives, or at least a large portion of their lives, to research and study of some of these topics. And not just doctors themselves, but also very successful business people who dedicate a lot of time, a lot of money, a lot of research into investing into the best possible technologies. And we're talking people that truly care about the human condition, about people at the end of the day. And it's those entrepreneurs, those business people, those investors that are ultimately going to put money and resources into the biotechnologies that are going to help us all improve our lives altogether. And the better lives that we can all live, then the better society can be for all of us. And this is just beneficial to all mankind, or womankind, or humankind. So with that, thanks again for watching this video. Check out the book. And just one final thought here. I am reading this book on an Amazon Kindle, which is absolutely amazing, because I can have hundreds and hundreds of books right at the palm of my hands. Now, I'm the type of guy that likes to jump around a lot. I like to jump around from one book to another. I like to get one idea, and then I like to get another idea. Or if I read a book more than once, I like to read the book, and then maybe I reach a point where I feel like, okay, well, I've gotten bored because I've read it before, and I go to another book. So I jump around a lot, and you can't really do that if you buy book by book, or if you go to the library, you get like 5 books. You're pretty limited. This could also be like, a lack of focus on my part, whatever you want to call it, but that's how I like to read. That's how I like to absorb information. So the Amazon Kindle has been an absolutely amazing tool. This is the Kindle Oasis. Some major differences between the Oasis and the other versions, like the Paperweight. Paperweight is a little bit thinner in terms of, or a little bit like not as wide, because it is just like, imagine just this screen minus this little bar here, because this little bar has a visual light detector. It has a light detector or some sensors right here that allow it to adjust brightness, and it also has page turning buttons that allow you to turn a page, and it has a couple other features in the options and settings like different font, and I think I just want to see if I could turn it. I might have turned the rotation off, but I'm pretty sure you can also rotate it so you can read like that. But I might have turned the rotation off. So with that, some great features. Again, this is the Kindle Oasis version. The Kindle Paperwhite, again, you have to just scroll in order to do it. I had a Paperwhite for a while, but I sort of realized that I read so much and I love the Kindle so much that I just had to upgrade to the Oasis. So with that said, the Oasis is absolutely amazing. It's a little thicker here. As you can tell, there's a little groove. So I also like this feature because I can hold on to it. I can actually hold on to it like this while I'm reading, and I get a little bit of a grip there, which is very helpful. But overall, the Amazon Kindle is amazing. You get so many books. You could buy a book on Amazon or buy a book from the Kindle, because this could sync to the internet and the Kindle store, and you could download it and you instantly have the book in your hands. Now, and here's the other best part is you can also go online. If there are some other websites like Project Gutenberg, which is a collection of free and open source books that are public domain, which means they're legally allowed to share them. Gutenberg presses, at least, and they're allowed to share them, and you can download the files. Sometimes you could send it directly to your Kindle, or you could send PDFs to your Kindle, or whatever have you, and that way you can get some other books as well. And then that's just that part. But you got the Kindle Unlimited too. This is a feature that allows you to get some great books and read it for free. But you basically rent the book, you read it for free, and then you can only have like a certain amount, like I think like 6 or 8 Kindle Unlimited books in your library, and you have to like rotate through them. But they're not free. They come along with the Kindle Unlimited membership. Wow. This is an absolutely amazing tool for book lovers, for book readers. And as someone who moved around a lot, I had to donate about 100 books, 50 to 100 books to a library, because I realized that I'd probably be moving again, and I couldn't carry or bring around the books with me. I already have another huge 2 cases full of books that that won't fit in my car, that definitely you're going to need extra storage for in the future, and it just starts to take up a lot of space. And yes, if you're a person who owns a house and you love having a library and you love having a lot of books in your house, and you're planning to stay where you're going to live for 20, 30, 40, 50 years, that's absolutely great. But I move around a lot. I like to have the variety, the options, the portability. I mean, I still buy occasionally the physical books just because I like to have them and collect them. But at the end of the day, the Kindle has been an absolutely amazing tool. I highly recommend it for any readers out there, any interested collectors. And here's the best part is it's one thing to have a ton of books, but it's also great when you can also share them, because the Kindle also allows you to have a family sharing option where you could share it with a couple family members as well, who can also have access to your books. If you believe you have to have Amazon Prime for that, maybe. But also, there's just so many great, just absolutely love this. Can't say enough about it. It's amazing, the Amazon Kindle. Check it out, Amazon Kindle, or the Paperwhite. Amazing things. You get so much information, and just as we've seen from this book, I mean, think about the value that you could potentially get from a book. I mean, just think about it from this perspective. You've got Life Force, which has some amazing potentially. I mean, of course, maintaining peak performance. We all want more energy. We all want more vitality. We all want to stay healthy and functional and all that. But along with that, there is these new biotechnologies that can help prevent Alzheimer's and dementia, or prevent if you have organ failure, you have some other options you can consider. Now imagine someone who has to go through one of those situations where they're having some challenges with their health, and they might need to start looking at options, and they maybe consider options for like organ replacement or lung replacement, which they talk about specifically in his book. And they want to look at these options. and they're not really getting the information from their doctor because their doctor is they've been the same doctor for 20, 30 years, and they don't have time to look into the new breakthrough technologies, and they don't necessarily always deal with the type of stuff like lung replacement, right? So they might not know, even doctors might not know about the stuff in this book. Think about it, this book just came out a month and a half ago. I mean, I'm just now hearing about some of this stuff, and I think I could stay pretty up to date with the news, and you probably do too. So, with that said, how much value would the idea of a potential organ replacement for that person be if they were running out of options, like they didn't have too much time, and they had to be put on a waiting list, or they couldn't afford the real the real surgery and all that, and whatever affects them. And you could share this one book or some of the ideas from this book. I mean, don't judge a book by its price. There's so much value carried in books, and with that said, that means that this tool right here, the Kindle, is almost invaluable. So check that out, and I hope you got a lot out of this video, and have a wonderful day.